Hi, welcome to this week's Friday Takeout. Today we've got Andrew Lutzy
G'day, g'day.
and Amy Stead joining us today.
Hello.
So we're going to have a little chat about a few things, misconceptions in relation to how about presenting your property for sale. What's that all about? Also to sort of understand that we now view everything starts with the presentation. If you don't get the presentation right, you don't get the marketing right, and then it flows all the way through. Your days on market are longer. All these things that actually cost you money can be all fixed up with a great investment in presenting the property for sale. So Andrew, how have you found this last 12 months in terms of the market in that space?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Presentation's everything for us, especially as an agent, and particularly it'd be good to hear from Amy later. The styling of the property is where it all starts, because that's the first thing that people feel when they walk into a home. Is this something that I can fall in love with? Do I have a connection with the property? Or maybe it's something that, I don't quite like it. They don't have a real bond.
Both are coming from an emotional place, aren't they?
Well, that's the world
Yeah.
we work in. That's
Yeah.
the space we work in. And you, Amy, more than anyone, probably see the before and after shots.
Absolutely. We have clients that fall in love with their home after they've done those improvements to it. So
Yeah, thanks very much for that, because
Yeah.
sometimes they don't sell.
it has happened. It has happened.
Seller remorse. Yeah, we get a bit of that. Yeah.
We should explain, Amy's from Amazima Interiors, so she's our preferred stylist, core interior designer actually, because that's what you are.
We are, yeah.
And we actually want to add an absolute layer of love to every property we market. So back to you, Amy, what's happening in that space?
Well, we're finding that we're trying to make sure that it's not a style by numbers. We try to make every property unique, individual to that target market, that demographic, that area, that style of property too. So we even consider the era that the property was built in, the improvements that have been made over time, and how we can complement that, enhance it, can make it more contemporary, bring it into this current market and make it really appealing.
Yeah, we've noticed that we've had some people say about it's appropriate,
Yes.
and then they're talking about something else being completely inappropriate, and that's the feedback. So,
So
we
don't
really
want
want
it
that to be.
Yeah, we don't want it to look like a showroom. So the idea is that it's livable, it's aspirational, but it's livable. Like you can arrive there and feel really comforted and welcomed, but it's what you're aspiring to, not what you're living in.
Feeling at home, isn't it?
Feeling at home, but in a really the way you dream to live at home.
And there's also a lot of properties that we sell where there's very different styles that you go with, particularly for what the property and where it's located. So if it's a beach apartment or it's a beach house, or perhaps if it's something which is a really contemporary masterpiece on in a blue ribbon area, or particularly the clients as well, the demographic of the client that the agents try to appeal to. That's a big part of how we collaborate, isn't it?
It is. It's something we have a discussion about before we make any selections, as well as we liaise with Cunningham's to decide what direction we're taking, and so therefore we can make the correct selections that make that all marry up.
Yeah, I think one of the things that most people come to an agent or even to a stylist and say, oh, look, do I really need to style?
Yeah.
Is it really something, I've got pretty good style myself, but there's a difference between living in a home and then the way you present it for sale. Maybe you can share a bit more about that.
Absolutely. So it's, again, I said, an aspirational way of living. It's how we dream, we wish we could live.
Yeah.
So it's not a reality of the day-to-day. So we try to remove some of those items that pull you down. So those things that have a dragging effect on your emotions. So the decluttering of that everyday life clutter is like the 101. So we have to start there. So over Christmas, if you've got the time, you've got a day off, it's a bit overcast, dive into your cupboards, clear it all out, put things away, start to reduce things on surfaces, declutter your walls. So if you've got too many artworks up, too many family photos, these things can just start to neutralize it. We need to have personality, but also have enough space and air and just enough impersonal element to make people feel like they can imagine themselves in the property. So it's not stripping everything out. We don't want you to live in a sparse home. We don't want anyone to live in a sparse home, too sterile. But it's just creating that space to make it feel like it's light and airy and approachable.
We find that at open homes. We need that
Absolutely,
space. So we've got
you
a load of people coming through. They just want to flow through a home.
We
and
need
that's
circulation.
Circulation.
So circulation and paths of travel is something that we always consult with every client, regardless of whether they're styling with us or not. We do a consultation with every client that Cunningham's lists. So we come in and tell you how to operate with what you actually have in the house. So what to remove, what to keep, how how to make it work, because the paths of travel in your home are so important, so we don't have anywhere that people get stuck and they can't walk past each other. We're really mindful of those elements.
And what's probably a good point to note is that we're doing a lot of talking about styling and presentation for the home, but if we rewind that, it's even your advice around, most people say, well, what do I do? Do I paint? Do I recarpet? You know, what landscaping do I need to get done? Is it relevant? Is it not? You know, because once you start in one area, it shines a light on everything else.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, that looks great now, but everything else, which I thought was quite good, looks pretty pale in comparison.
Yeah.
And it is coming down to that investment, isn't it? You know, we talk about what's the return on investment.
Yeah.
So it's not about just spending money. Every single cent we spend, the objective is to get a good return on that investment. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it?
I think the quick wins are well around that. You know, for me as an agent, you know, when we're talking to clients and saying, look, the Bobby basic stuff, which is spend $1, make 2 or 3 or 4, is always going to be, you know, the basic things like paint and your flooring.
Absolutely.
That's timber. Is that? Would you say that's pretty?
I'd
correct?
say they're the two big ticket items because they have the most impact. If you want to do an extra layer than that, then we go down to some slightly finer detail that still is inexpensive and has great impact as well. So lighting is a huge one. Lighting can date your property so greatly.
So even the old, you know, people say, well, I've got downlights, you know, but they look like those old little, you know, yellow bulbs in there, and they've rusted a little bit. And oh, I can clean them, Amy, but it doesn't quite work.
It doesn't quite work, and it's just a lovely thing for you guys to be able to say, there's brand new lighting throughout this property.
Yeah.
It's all LED. It's all like energy saving.
Yeah.
It has the right colour in it, which is a big thing for me. Colour rendering in your globes. If you're going to do nothing else, make sure you have a warm white globe in all of your lights. So if you have a dusk viewing, then you're not having this bright white light on people, which can make people feel really sick and quite unnerved.
It's incredible impact,
Huge
And what
impact.
about, I mean, for houses? Most people have got beautiful lawns coming to a great time of year. Bougainvilleas are blooming. Everything's, you know, coming up. You've got these great colours going around. You know, most people will probably do their own landscaping as well. And for me as an agent, you know, we know the most valuable part of real estate around here, typically our target market is typically lawn space. We want lawn space as well.
Kids.
Yeah, kids as well. Now, decks going to lawns and so on as well. Any comments on that? What sort of, you know, if they're going to rebuild a deck, we'd obviously want to move away from the softwoods into hardwoods.
Absolutely. Going into hardwoods and trying to, if you have got an existing deck, try and avoid those orange-red stains. They really do date. So if you are going to be re-oiling a deck, try to go for a natural finish. So honouring the timber that's existing, or paint it. So go for a darker colour or a lighter colour in your grey to white tones. It just makes it more contemporary. But hardwood is preferable if we can get it.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
can
and I
work
suppose
with other things.
when we look at that, it comes down to flow as well, from the inside to
It
the
does, so
outside.
we need to-
We're in a summer environment almost all year round in reality, and people are looking for that all the time.
Absolutely.
So again, we get people that say, look, you know, I really don't have the funds to do this, and we have actually funding systems that work for people who can go, okay, well, look, we've got a pay now or a pay later system in place now, which is fantastic because it really does open up that to a good investment. So you don't want to cut corners, and we talk about cutting corners, because the reality is when we talk about presentation starting it, it goes to marketing. Now the marketing, if you want great marketing, you've got to have great presentation.
There's
It
no
just
point
goes
spending all this
to
money
a-
on great photos and getting dust photos
But you want
or
cut through
in the market.
and you want people to respond.
Yeah.
All these things have got to happen, which actually save you money because there's less long-term marketing spend. You can get such strong impact early, and I suppose we just can't emphasize enough how important it is to get it right the first time, because you don't get a second chance, do you?
You don't, and I mean that really starts and sets the tone for the campaign. And if we're thinking about return on investment, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you're investing in a couple of things. You're investing in your agent to be the best negotiator and put the property in its best light. You're investing in, you know, the right presentation from your stylist in conjunction with the agent, and then of course marketing. You need to have great marketing. And all of these things move back into the buyer's mind and say, how do I feel
Correct.
about this property? Because that's ultimately, there's nothing logical about what we do in real estate.
Yeah.
It's all based on feelings. You know?
Absolutely.
And the way someone feels about price on your property compared to someone else could be $50,000, $100,000 difference. And I think you've done some great jobs for us this year, where we've spent, you know, an investment around about $30,000, $40,000, and it's returned $200,000.
Yeah.
So I think, and we can go into more of that. So if anyone wants to reach out, just shoot us an email or
some great
tag
case
us in.
studies.
But some really interesting studies
Yeah.
as well. Some old rundown cottages as well that really.
Well, there was a $50,000 investment on a semi in Manly that returned $500.
Yes.
So we've had some pretty amazing even your own place, Amy, that Andrew sold for Amy.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, you talk about case studies and examples. They are plenty. So look, again, thanks guys for this morning. It's been fantastic.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Questions, go onto the Facebook, do what we need to do. We'd love to respond. These things are really important. They're the things that really set the tone and create the whole flow for a great marketing campaign. So don't forget, start date for us in January. It's going to be early this year. We're going to be coming back pretty early into January because we believe there will be a good, strong flow of buyers in the marketplace. Manly Daily starts in the middle of January, 19th. Yep, and we'll get traction, we believe, quite early. But
exciting.
everyone have an awesome Christmas, and don't forget, use Boxing Day well. The boxes are there to put all your clutter away.
If you've got some time off, this is the
Yeah,
chance.
it's a great time.
Roll up the sleeves, get in the elbow grease. We're already in the
Absolutely.
summer spirit, so
Yeah.
enjoy.
Get the
Thanks for
gurney
watching.
out, make it all beautiful.
Make it beautiful. Thanks for watching, guys.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.